That's happening here, and joining us now is Brian Smith. He's the professor of political science from St. Edward's University. He's going to join us to break it all down for us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
You know, we just heard from the vice president. What are your thoughts? That was shorter than we anticipated, right?
Right. It was a case where it didn't really snowball. It was a couple people saying, please drop out, please drop out. And then over the weekend, everything fell out. And the vice president is now looking to be the presumptive nominee, and Joe Biden is stepping aside and not running.
What'd you make of her remarks?
Well, it is a campaign speech. She's starting small, trying to get her feet wet, trying to figure out how is it that I move from vice president to presidential nominee. And so starting small is the best way to do it. And she's got a couple weeks until the Democratic convention to find out who it is that she's going to be if elected president.
Yeah, speaking of which, that DNC, a few weeks away, like you just said. So what is next, Brian, process-wise?
Okay, first thing is this. Joe Biden is off the ticket. Harris is still on the ticket, meaning any of the primary money raised can go to her. Also, because she is on the fall ballot, she can raise money for that. But it's all about the formal nomination process. Until formally nominated in mid-August in Chicago, she is not the Democratic nominee. And up until that point, what Lloyd Doggett is saying, any Democrat can throw their hat in the ring and challenge her.
Go ahead and tell us, what are the pros and the cons of an open convention?
The pros of an open convention are that the delegates can then pick who they think is going to best match up against Donald Trump. The cons are that the primaries that we've had all spring are absolutely meaningless, meaning that who people voted for may not be the nominee. The other cons, of course, you have a much shorter amount of time to take on Donald Trump. We're talking about mid-August to November, as opposed to planning for 4 years to run against Donald Trump, as Joe Biden had done. Yeah. So there's a lot of ups and downs.
Instead of 4 years, you've got 4 months. All right, so we're expecting President Biden to free up his delegates. What does that mean?
What it means is they will be unpledged delegates. They're no longer required to vote for him, such that all the delegates there are able to vote for whomever they want to be the next Democratic nominee. That's why the party's working hard to get everybody to coalesce behind Vice President Harris, because otherwise it could be a very long process with a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, she's already got Biden's endorsement. I think she got the the Illinois governor, rather, endorsement today. So what's the word on other challengers?
Right now, we're not seeing any other challengers. A lot of people are saying they're not going to run, meaning the people that they said might step up, Gavin Newsom, Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, they said they're not going to run. So what that's doing is it's clearing a path for the vice president to be the nominee. But anything can happen. If she doesn't get a majority of the votes on that first ballot, other people could be jumping in, and we could see something that we haven't really seen for the Democrats since 1952.
Now, this is already so unprecedented. So lots of talk about Harris's running mate. What do we need to see in her VP?
We need to see something that she's not, meaning she's representing California. She's representing a much more liberal portion of the Democratic Party. Biden was more of a centrist. She has to look in the mirror, say, this is who I am, and then maybe pick somebody who she's not. She doesn't need somebody to help her govern. She has that experience. She needs somebody who's going to be able to expand the electoral base and actually win those Rust Belt states where Biden outpolled Trump in 2020.
Any thoughts of a running mate?
That's up to her campaign. Still too much time, and she's not the nominee yet.
Yeah. Well, so the public doesn't know a lot about Vice President Harris. I've heard her called the invisible vice president. So what are her chances of winning, Brian?
Right now, her chances of winning are just actually better than Joe Biden's. She has less negatives because we don't know a lot about her. Biden was really doing poorly in the polls, poorly in fundraising. This is a chance, sort of like in football when they fire a coach mid-season and get that bounce to, bring the team back together. So this is the Democrats' reset. We don't know a lot about her as an executive because she's always been a senator, attorney general. So she's got to figure out how it is that she's going to govern and how is it that she's going to take Donald Trump on in a much shorter period of time.
Yeah, a lot less time. All right, Brian Smith, did I miss anything here? Anything else you want to share?
There's just so much uncertainty going on because this is not something we've seen in the second half of the 20th century or the 21st century.
Certainly has energized a lot of people, right?
Right.
All right, Brian Smith, professor of political science from St. Edward's, thank you so much once again for appearing on KVUE.
Oh, thanks again for having me.
We always appreciate you.